Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to OpenShift TV. I am Chris Short, Principal Technical Marketing Manager on the OpenShift team here at Red Hat. I am joined today by the one and only, the illustrious, as I called him on Twitter earlier, Langdon White, here for the Level Up Hour. Langdon, good morning. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I am on my way to fully caffeinated, but I'm
Yeah,
still working on it.
yeah.
I think we should have a good show today. Hopefully, we'll get some good participation because this one is really driven by people complaining. So,
People complaining. Okay.
well, yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I
So,
like it when people complain about important things, right?
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So
Like,
we'll see how it goes.
okay, cool.
But I particularly put a little bit in here just for you, based on
Oh,
our
oh,
show last week. I almost
okay.
said class for some reason. Um,
Well, you do teach.
perhaps. Well, I think it's also because I'm a little bit driven because I also have to teach a class later today. So
Yeah, is this why you're wearing the fancy nice shirt
it
today?
is why I'm wearing the fancy nice shirt today. Well, partially. Also, I thought it'd be a fun change of pace. It's episode 6 after all.
Right. Yes,
We
yes,
gotta mix it up
yes.
a little.
Yeah, we got
Um,
to step our game up. I thought about putting on a collared shirt this morning for a brief moment, and then I
uh-huh.
saw this shirt and I decided not to.
I hear you. I hear
Yeah.
you. I don't actually think I have that shirt. I really should get that one of these days. But
Yeah, man, cool stuff store, man. Actually I need a link to that for like tracking purposes, but I'll just drop it in chat right now. The cool stuff store is my preferred shop of choice these days for all my t-shirt needs.
well, especially given the affiliate links, right?
Right. Yeah.
um, yeah, no such luck. So I don't know. Should we throw up a slide or two?
Yeah, why not, buddy? Go
Our
ahead, have at
fancy
it.
slides. Let me find the
Let's see if
technology
you've
button.
updated Zoom this week.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Can we see any
I
slides? Are
see
they working?
screen. I see some slide picture thingy. Level up
Yay.
hour. Yeah, that's good stuff.
I can never decide. Like, this seems like a big enough screen to me. So,
I don't
um,
know. I mean, you could
all
go
right.
full screen. That's not going to hurt.
We've still got the fancy graphics. Oops, not F12, F11, maybe. Whatever.
Whatever. I
Technology's
think it's
confusing.
F10.
All right. As
Whatever.
we often say, you can find us on the Twitters
On the
and
Twitters. On the
uh,
Discords.
as part of the show, you can definitely find us on Discord. We have a Level Up Our channel, as well as
Mm-hmm.
the streaming is actually rebroadcast. I don't know. You know,
Restreamed is the
restream
proper
perhaps.
term.
Yeah,
Yes.
onto Discord as well. So if you prefer Discord to the Twitch
Mm-hmm.
chat, you've got that there.
Yeah.
Um,
So jump in the live chat channel if you want to participate there on Discord.
exactly.
Otherwise, you can participate in the streaming channel of choice.
And then, as always, the episode 5
Dun, dun,
show
dun.
notes are up. Took me a little longer than normal because I actually took a few days off and did not get to
They
them.
let you do
So
that? They
yeah,
let
I
you do
know
that?
it was kind of surprising.
I
It
can't
meant I only
complain.
went
I'm
to like
taking
2
days off
meetings
next
per
week.
day.
Oh wow. Oh, that's not
Yeah,
days off then.
yeah, I know it wasn't as good as my normal PTO, but it was bad timing, bunch of planning meetings and that kind of thing. So
Mm.
yeah, so here's the show notes from last time. I spend a lot of time and energy on these, so please go read them. I think they are funny. I pull out some nice, fun Twitch clips, usually, as well as some real Twitch clips, which you can find on the OpenShift.
Last,
Go ahead.
yeah. Last week was particularly funny. I just have to say, the Podman is a rapper, like a rapper, like hip hop. Yeah, that one kind of needs to grow some legs. I feel like so. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and I put some links in case people were unfamiliar with Run DMC or Parappa the Rapper, or someone during the actual show hacked together a version of the shirt that they wanted to see, all of which
Right.
I have as links in the show notes. So
Very nice.
I
Very
highly
nice.
recommend.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, no, we're starting up a new show here in the next few weeks. If you're on the calendar and go look on what day did we start? The 10th. We're starting an executive hour. No, wait, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna shut up. Just keep going, Langman.
No worries. So apparently there will be a bunch of new cool shows coming up.
Yeah, new cool shows, but Dan Walsh will be on the first episode of this new office hours with Red Hat leadership. So yeah, we'll have him on. I did all the stuff this morning, but I've been up since 4 working on stuff. So yeah,
That's very, very early.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really care for mornings. So let's see. I guess we should probably get into it because we don't want to give away the sweet internet points quite this early in the game.
No, let's definitely
so
dive in here.
Yeah. So excuse me. So the first thing I was thinking we might flip through because I had a bit of a panic attack yesterday. Because I went to go and do something along the lines of some sudo yum install or list or something. I can't remember what exactly I was playing with. But if we take a look at the app streams or whatever, what I got was scroll. Was Oh, it doesn't actually list it the way I was thinking. Let's do repo list. I had only Apple here, and I got all panicky because I was like, "Where did Rel go?" And then I
wait. Oh no, that's bad.
Yeah. So just for command line completion, I will SU, but we will see subscription manager, and I think it's status. And right here it said unsubscribed, and I was like, what? So I tried to resubscribe it, and I took some pictures. So let's see if I can show those pictures. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember the best way to get those to open.
The joys of screen sharing, yes.
I know, right? So let's see. Level up hour episodes. Episode 6. All right. So this should work. Let's see.
Here we go.
All right. So as you can see, my normal terminal font is a basically a green screen. But can you read that?
Yeah.
How's that? Okay.
Yeah.
So so this is what I saw, which stressed me out. So, but I realized what was going on was that basically I was now not subscribed anymore. I use a Red Hat developer subscription, which you can all go get for free. You just have to go and kind of
developers.redhat.com.
Yep. And so I wanted to show what it looked like to do a renewal of said subscription because I assumed not too many people had that experience. So basically, so I just I noticed this and was reassured that the problem was just that my subscription had expired. So I went and clicked on the fun renew button. And then I was prompted with this guy, which, if you can see, has a nice little text box here that is a link that says, takes you to Red Hat Developer Subscription. So I went to there, and this screenshot didn't come out very well, but basically this box over here is, agree to the T's and C's, and this one is agree to the marketing or not. So that I clicked. And then, wait,
you clicked what?
Yeah, so I clicked. I thought this was this, but you see the pop up here is the more detailed version of the T&Cs.
There you go. Yeah.
And so I checked all those boxes. I read the developer program newsletter, so I kept that checkbox. And then happily, I came back and just did an auto attach, and now it's subscribed again. So, like I said, I just wanted to kind of show that, hey, it's super easy to register or to renew your registration. Like I said, just because I expect not many people have had that experience.
No, usually it's set it and forget it kind of thing, right? Like you do it once, maybe at a company for a box, and you're kind of like,
right,
all right, I'm good, because like your licenses are like 3 years long and blah 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 blah. Yeah.
And so what I also wanted to kind of just mention here too, one of the things that is not well understood is that the developer subscription actually can be used in lots of different ways. One of them being on personal hardware or VMs or whatever, but personal stuff for work stuff. So you don't. It doesn't actually. When it says you can't use it in production, it only means it running like like a
Like,
server or something like
right,
that.
like something actually web facing.
Right. And I was really surprised by that. And I work for the company, so but we've heard some feedback that people didn't understand that you can
Yeah.
actually use it
No,
on
no, no.
your
You can use this stuff like
laptop.
all the way, out to your CI pipeline, right? Like,
Right.
but you
Right.
you got to license them once it goes to prod, kind of thing. That's
Yes.
really the big shtick.
And so as part of that, we will be updating the kind of FAQ that's attached to the T's and C's and all that jazz, so that people can so it can be a little clearer. Um, but like I said, and just by way of kind of showing off the last bit, if you haven't been there before, if you go to developers.redhat.com, then you basically can go and log in. Um, and this is how you go to get. Of course, I don't know if I'm going to remember exactly where it is, but
What are you
you
trying to get?
can. This is where you can go and get lots of different content and all that stuff, but you can also get the
Hmm.
no, we're not supposed to call it free. The $no subscription.
Yeah, click the X button, and I think it's just under products. To be honest with you.
Is it?
Yeah, like right next to the
Oh,
search
right
thing.
here, right here.
Yeah,
Um,
I believe it's right.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
there it is.
Rail right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can go to a download and go and get the stuff. But yeah, so like I said, I just wanted to kind of show it just because I hadn't run into that with my developer subscription before, so
Mm-hmm.
somebody else might. So that's pretty cool, I thought. But let's go move on into the meat of the show. Although I think part of the fun is the entertaining banter. Um,
Yes.
so
JP Date is here, by the way, and he is very excited to have Dan Walsh coming on soon.
I saw that. I saw
Yeah.
that. If you could be sure to clarify to Dan that he is a rapper as well.
Oh,
I
Dan
don't.
is aware, and Dan apparently has an all black Adidas tracksuit.
I don't know. I think this is not around anymore, but there is a guy, yeah, who. So when Dan Walsh was originally talking about Docker, so Dan Walsh actually has what is referred to as a North Shore accent in the
Yes.
Boston area. He
Yeah,
does
yeah.
not actually have a Boston accent. He has a North Shore accent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there is no such thing as an R in a North Shore accent. It's all AH. So when he would say Docker, it would be Daka Daka
Daka,
Daka, right?
Daka, Daka. Yeah.
So a guy who works for Red Hat named Ryan Lurch put up this website, which was basically a video clip of him saying Docker, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think the
It's
the
gone
maintenance
now.
and cost of maintaining that joke was in excess of what he
Uh,
wanted to deal
I,
with.
I could drive that down to 0. So if you want to reach out, let me know. I
Right,
have a
right.
great way to run websites for pretty much nothing. Yeah.
Right, there you go. So we should at least consider that as an option. But it was absolutely hilarious, and it just kind of miraculously appeared on the internet one day. And he's a very funny guy. So you should if you see anything else by Ryan, he's very active in the Fedora community. Um, with another slight digression, but today we were trying to talk about the perfect kind of tools container.
Perfect
And
container for tools.
exactly. So I
Yes.
just called it conveniently enough perfect to
Perfect.
make sure things were simpler. And as it came up last week, we wanted to talk about what could we name the container file, and Chris suggested that it should be umptysquat.txt. So of course I actually used umptysquat.txt.
Umptysquat.txt. I love you. You're the
Um,
best.
so and just kind of, so this is a very simple version of it, and so what I thought might be a good starting point was the rel 8 support tools. So the vast majority of the content then would be supported, right? So
Right.
it's not only coming from rel 8, which is supported, but then kind of the container itself, which is support tools, is also supported. But I wanted to fix some of the things that annoy me. So I included PS, which is in a package called procps. I include which, which I don't know if I told this story before, but I actually had an application fail to run inside a container because the container was missing which, and it was not a declared dependency, because who doesn't have which?
Right.
So now I tend to install it a lot of the time to avoid pain on things like this, where what my goal is to have a useful thing, not necessarily a tight or small or low attack surface thing. But then I also include IP utils, which gives me ping, I think. I can never remember which one's which. So one of
Ping
these,
and
ping comes in.
netstat. And netstat
Yeah,
is something else.
I think that's in net
Net
tools,
tools,
maybe, or something.
yeah.
And then bind utils also includes. I really like the command host.
Host, dig, yeah, those are good commands to have around.
Right. So then, basically I just kind of build this, but this is kind of what I wanted to show. I am going to use sudo to build because as we've talked about in the prior episodes, in order to have enough privilege to be able to do material investigation on the machine, we need to have root access. So as a result, I'm going to build it as sudo. Then we can call it, perfect container or perfect tools. How about
perfect tools? Yeah.
And then we can give it the file name we're using. So that we can just not use the default, and we can use umpty-squat.txt.
Right.
Maybe we can file an RFE for that, and then it could be the default. But then we build this guy. And I previously built it, so
cache, yeah.
Cache, yeah. And so what I wanted to do here was kind of ask the audience a little bit, is what other tools should we put in this guy? And does anyone have any suggestions? Of course, this is where we will experience our delay challenges.
Yes. So yeah, if you have suggestions for things that you want to have baked into your perfect toolkit for sysadmin, network troubleshooting, whatever it may be, right? Like your day-to-day work, please let us know like what tools you use on a regular basis, right? Like we'd love to hear.
Just throw them out in the chat, and then we can
toss them out here, and we'll get them installed in this container.
And maybe while we're doing that, we'll start taking a look at creating our own run. Our own run label.
Yeah, go ahead. JP Day says he wants nmap, so that's a good one.
See that? Let's see.
So let's work on the run label. Let's let some more come in here. Folks, just feed us, or whatever commands you want, whatever tooling you figure you need. If you need OC in your container, let us know, right? Like we're building the perfect toolkit here.
Exactly. So let's see if I can get this correct today. Let's just try help, just to make our lives a little easier. So it's run label. That's what I thought it was.
Yes.
So we can say run label, and then we're going to say display, if I can type, not that.
Can you type?
And I forgot the word run, as I usually do. And so here we have the run label. Actually, this is pre-populated, so we probably don't want to use that way of looking at it. We actually want to look at it directly so that we know what the flags look like and stuff.
Right.
So if we say inspect, and let's just pass it to less, and then so here we have our full run label with the variables unresolved, I guess is a good word for it. And so let's just take that guy, and then
undefined would be the proper term.
Undefined, yes.
Unresolved would be DNS.
That's true.
I was doing this yesterday on the last stream yesterday. Christian was referencing Solaris stuff. I was referencing Cisco stuff, and Andrew was just like, "What are you talking about? This is all virtualization."
Right. So to give the run label, basically you have to kind of give the whole command, if assuming I'm recalling all these steps correctly. This is going to be the name of our resultant container, right? Because it's a podman run command. So this will be the versus the image, this will be the container name. And then the host, and then what image we're going to use is, here it basically pre-populates from the name of the actual image. And then again, you see the image name here. So that's pretty much all there is to it. At this point, we don't need to modify it, I don't believe, because it'll have the same we want the same feature set that we have for support tools, so we can just kind of steal it from there. However, if we, this is also a good way to steal it, or basically get the content. If we didn't want to do a from support tools, we could also do a we could just do a UBI 8 here, for example, if we wanted a smaller container. But we want those tools, so we'll leave them alone. And
so JP Data also mentioned traceroute. JL97, does Podman work with Docker Compose? Not directly. There's a Podman Compose project. Go check that out when you get a second. I can find the link for you, but keep going, please.
Yeah, you can also, and this should definitely be, or definitely will be a topic of a show. Speaking of which, I need to update the upcoming shows soon.
Yes.
But one of them is using Podman Pods. So just to give a little bit of background. So we have this idea of containers. And when we want a container to talk to another container, the kind of original way of doing that was using what was called a Docker link. And basically you could kind of link the two containers together. In the Kubernetes world, one of the ways we do that is by putting the same two containers in the same pod, and then they can kind of talk to each other using a very similar mechanism to Docker link. However, one thing that's kind of cool about Podman is that it actually supports pods directly without Kubernetes. So you can describe your container setup as if it was a pod for Kubernetes, but run it in Podman. So as a result, unlike Docker Compose or even the Podman Compose, it's not a write once and not be able to use that description ever again, right? Because the problem with Docker Compose is, yes, there are converters and that kind of stuff, but you can't use that. Well, I mean, you could use it in production, but most people don't use Docker Compose in production, right? They use something like Kubernetes or whatever, or OpenShift, for example. But the nice thing about Podman Pods is that you can actually export the description, as it were, and then reuse that result in Kubernetes, so that you don't need to basically write it again. So we will definitely talk more about that in a future episode. And it's really handy.
Yes, so I can't wait for that, because that's where you're getting into like my daily routine kind of territory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we are going to run this guy just to find out if it has Nmap or traceroute already.
Okay. It probably has traceroute. We're thinking.
Oops. I'm sorry. Say that again.
It probably has traceroute with IP tools, I'm thinking. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't. I can't.
Or utils. Yeah, sorry.
It would also help if we actually run the correct container.
Perfect tools. Plural. Yes.
There we go. All right. So let's see if no traceroute. Yeah, because I think traceroutes, for some reason, packaged independently, which I'm not really sure 100% why.
Is it?
Yeah,
it used to be just TraceRT on Windows, and it was always packaged differently there too. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, maybe it has like a different license or something.
Maybe possible. That's right. Yeah, I remember that. Like,
so
if someone recalls why that is, please let us know. JP Date, I feel like you might actually know the answer to that. Yeah,
intuitively enough, it is called traceroute.
Traceroute, yeah.
And then let's just check. We should already have cache, so this shouldn't take very long. And Nmap is also independent. So let's add those guys. And
You're killing me with the guys today. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah, sorry. What's funny is I'm really good about using y'all. and I say it
or
half
whatever.
the time.
Yeah. No, I know you do it written. I know you're like, your Boston's coming out.
Exactly. I'm gonna start saying Wicked, and you guys are gonna be all confused.
Oh Lord, heavens to Betsy. Oh gosh.
And I just did it again.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna put these on a separate line for no good reason, except that it will perform better.
I would
during the
Can
show.
you throw is DD in there already? DD, Distrud, or Disc, whatever.
I would imagine. Although I don't
so.
know where that actually is. So
Me either.
Let's see.
Let's check real quick.
Sudo yum provides.
I always feel like DD is a handy
core utils, so it
core
should
utils.
be.
It should be there, yeah.
But this goes back to the which comment that I was talking about earlier.
Right, like specify everything you want in the container because you never know when that is not part of the base image.
Exactly.
Yes.
So sorry, I just wanted to see core utils if it was hyphenated.
So
let's say core utils. So I do know though that core utils is weird because
you say weird.
Yeah. So I can't. I'm trying to remember. I think it has to do with systemd. So there's now a core utils single and a core utils, and core utils single is
learning
the one
new
you
right
use in a container. So
really?
let's actually check the container because I want to make sure.
What is the difference?
It's basically so that systemd will be in container mode, because here's the problem.
Right. Because systemd is not always there. Systemd is rarely there inside the container.
Exactly.
Right. So and core utils has a bunch of stuff that relies on systemd timers and stuff. So that makes sense. Okay.
Right.
Got it.
I'm gonna say maybe. No. How about Podman?
Podman start. Yeah.
All right.
If it only could read your mind.
Right. All right. Yum
Soon enough.
list core utils. So core utils is available, but let's see if single is the one that's installed. It is.
So it's already there. Okay, cool.
So this like I said, maybe maybe in a future episode or something we could dig into the why exactly.
That's cool though. I didn't know that. So today I learned.
There
Yet
we go.
Again, you've taught me something. See, that's why I tweeted you were going to teach me something today.
Right. So inside a container you want core utils single, and then outside a container you use core utils. I believe you can get the full core utils inside a container, but I can't remember what magic is required.
Right. You need the init container, I believe, for the relate init, which has systemd baked in. Scott McCarty taught me that a few months ago. Go look in the YouTube archive, and systemd not part of. I mean, well, I don't know if it maybe the base image. In the base image, it is, or
well, it's certainly here in support utils. I thought it was because. So here's the problem, right? Okay, when when containers were first launching, kind of becoming popular, right? They've actually been around for like 20 something years.
Yes.
But only got popular maybe 6 or 7 years ago.
Right.
And primarily that was because of ease of use problems, right? They were very difficult to use. There was weird stuff. I actually linked in the show notes to an LWN article about using nspawn from 2013. And it talked there about the fact that there's also another container runtime called LXC, which is Linux containers, intuitively enough. But there's also, it's either vert-LXC or LXC-vert. I can't remember which. Which is another container runtime that also means Linux containers, but they're not the same. So they work differently. So that's fun. Point being, they were never very popular because they were kind of really difficult for most people to use.
They weren't intuitive enough, right? Like I remember people like trying to use LXC and LXD and prod, and like they always ran into problems. And I would see their messages on like Stack Overflow all the time, and it would just be like, oh my gosh, why are you putting yourself through this?
Right. There's even an alternate operating system called Qubes, QUBES, that it was designed around kind of very, very strong interprocess security. And even it used multiple VMs to be able to run the different parts of the system instead of using containers. So even though they were down in the depths of, kind of writing an actual operating system, they even used VMs. Although I think in the past couple of years they've switched to using containers.
Yeah.
Kind of a neat project if you're interested in security things, but also being solved in not similar ways, but also being solved by things like Wayland. Basically, Linux is terrible about interprocess security, particularly on desktops.
Yeah.
So because you want things like copy and paste to work, right?
Right.
But if you think about it,
Shockingly.
that's a security break between those two applications, right?
Mhm.
So long story short, so when containers were first getting popular, people wanted to be able to run things as if they were a service in the container.
Right.
And all kinds of different mechanisms became popular. And one of them, for example, was Zookeeper, which is still
Mhm.
popular today because all this work we'd put into systemd, or even like sysv and init scripts, didn't work the same way or at all inside a container. So there were all these different solutions with basically sleep commands and even now I think like the pause container is kind of this weird little thing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So you have all these different mechanisms to basically say, launch this service, but don't actually go away, right?
Yes.
And so it took a few years before systemd could be landed inside a container. And this is basically where the difference between VMs and containers really starts to show, because the closer and closer you get to the kernel, the more you're on that boundary between the actual operating system and the container. In a virtual machine, there is no boundary, right, until you get below the kernel. Right. So that's why it's a lot harder to do those things inside containers. So I think most of that has since been resolved, but maybe we should file that away as another topic for a future show, is to talk more about using systemd inside a container. Basically, whether you like systemd or not is not the point as much as to say, here's another thing where I don't want to modify anything that I don't have to. And if we already have perfectly good systemd and init scripts for Apache, I want to use them. I don't want to write my own, right? Because if I write my own, that's another thing.
Rewrite the work you've already done. Yes,
exactly.
All
right. So that was a long-winded way of saying systemd works weirdly in containers. So core utils, similar problem. You're getting really close to the kernel with core utils, and so that's why you have basically two different versions. So you want core utils single, and what we wanted to find out is, do we have DD? And let's find out. It looks like we do. So, as a result, going back to our earlier statement, I think we should not use or declare core utils. And if we do run into missing DD, or for example, we should go back and readjust this container. So basically, I would rather this fail because there was a modification in core utils than it just be glossed over because I potentially installed the wrong thing. Right, so this is kind of the if config.
Don't want you to install the improper packages inside the container. Yes,
right. So, all right. So now we got traceroute and nmap, and let's try to rebuild that guy. Assuming I can type my password again.
That guy again.
All right. Oh yeah. Well, this is a guy, I think.
Is it?
Well, maybe another container.
To me sounds very non-gendered.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the problems with English, right? Is like we randomly genderize certain words, right? Like a ship is a her for no particular reason.
Yes, the English language is just filled with things like that.
It's all kinds of broken. All right. It's not even very good for
nmap, ncat, traceroute. That's all there. Cool.
All right. Did we have any other suggestions in the?
No, DD was my last one.
Okay. As previously established, we have MTR already. Oh, sorry. I was reading your history of or expired Twitch episodes thing, and it took me a while to process that in my brain.
My bad. Is that not clear? Sorry.
No, it is. I was expecting it to be a question because I didn't read that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I thought someone was actually
I run
asking
bot commands while you're talking
episodes.
sometimes.
Yeah. All right. So then basically what we have is this guy, and we have applied a run label. So now we actually have
Sorry, the dog wants to go out right now, so he's gonna have to wait like 20 minutes.
Yeah, right. So what I want to show here is just I have created the container. It didn't go away, right? So I will be able to reuse that same one. That's why I was able to do an attach instead of a new run command. So one of the things that happens, at least for me, is it's basically impossible to always predict what all I'm going to need. So today I'm like, I need, I don't know, rando library. Let's say,
I don't know if it's just me, but it sounded like you got a little distant suddenly.
Oh, sorry. Is that better?
No, maybe it is just me.
Oh, nope. How about that?
There we go. That's much better.
My mic auto adjusted. I'm not really sure how to turn that off.
I always turn that off.
I got to figure out how to do that. Oh, is it in Zoom settings?
It's in Zoom settings, yeah.
Oh, I think that, I don't know.
Actually,
I have an
mine's
OS
on
level
right now, so. Oh, if you have an OS level one, game over, yeah.
Yeah, so I got to figure that out one of these days. All right, so, one other thing that might be handy, actually, this might be also an interesting little discussion. This might be a surprise for many Linux admins. If you type Python in rel 8, you will get command not found.
Yeah, because it doesn't exist anymore.
Sort of. So
okay,
one of the big problems that we have, and this was kind of going back to the other conversation we were having last week about app streams, is Python being so integral to how Linux works is a serious challenge for anybody who wants to do Python development on Linux, right? Because you have to match the version of Python that is being run by the operating system, because otherwise all your libraries are going to get screwed up, right? So in order to resolve this, in Fedora a few years ago now, and then in rel 8, we have actually hidden the system level Python away under basically as what I think it finally landed as being called system Python.
Yes.
So,
and then there's Python 2 and Python 3,
but as app streams.
Right? So it gets a little convoluted. So there's a layer, there's a system level Python, and then there's your user environment, userland Python, basically, right?
Right. Yeah. So what happens is, so rel 8 is actually using Python 3 of a particular version, I don't remember which. And so if you install libraries into a system that are Python 3 libraries, it will actually share those libraries until basically you diverge. So you don't waste the space of having two copies of it. I'm still on the fence of whether that's a great idea or not, but it does save some space. So one of the things that so you can get to Python 3 by doing blah, right? By typing Python 3, but then there's also a package that will make it Python, which, let's see if I can remember what it is.
You need to do yum install something.
Yeah, it's
you don't search. There you go.
Yeah. Let's see if we have less. That's another one I always put in that I forgot.
No, you got to put less in there, man.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just yum install it for now.
Yeah, that's fine. Gotta have less. No idea why that's not in core.
I know, right? Like, I was actually really surprised that it wasn't actually part of base. Sorry, part of bash. Like, so much is actually in bash now. So I almost always try to do this at the same time because otherwise I will forget. So let's just do that there, but I don't want to break out of the container and rebuild it and come back in. So I just want to do this. So I usually just open another window and then edit it directly.
So JP Dade's asking, I'm still looking for V8 Devel that was in rel 7, but not in rel 8. Is it hidden somewhere? Red Hat support has no clue where it went. I don't know where
if
V8 Devel went.
if anywhere. Okay, so if we say, let's pause on the discussion of Python for a second.
Mhm.
So giving a little bit more background on the various repos that came with RHEL 8, and I actually wrote an article about this that's on the developer blog if you want kind of the overview.
Mhm.
But base OS is all the stuff that runs your operating system. AppStream is all of the applications that are theoretically independent of your operating system, and that's where they live. There's this new one, which is Code Ready Builder, which closest analog to this in RHEL 7 is optional, but it's kind of mixed a bit with extras. Excuse me. And then there's still supplemental for basically patent encumbered or license encumbered stuff. So supplemental is still there, but we just kind of ignore that because that's where like Oracle Java is, right? And who wants that? So so Code Ready Builder is where if we have V8 Devel at all, that's where it is. So
it doesn't look like we do. Apparently, it's gone, and then it's disappeared from Fedora as well. So, yeah.
Oh, really?
Weird. Yeah. Let me jump on my
it's
Fedora
not even in
bug.
Apple?
It's in Apple, so you have to install Apple. Then you have to
it must be in Fedora.
module enable Node.js 13, and then you can install V8 Devel. So,
so okay. So this, yeah, I didn't think of that. Sorry. So the thing about V8, right, is that it's actually a JavaScript runtime.
right.
That JavaScript runtime is tightly coupled to a bunch of other JavaScript stuff.
Yes.
So I think it's being carried along with Node.js because Node.js is where you get JavaScript runtime stuff.
Right.
So, however, and this could be a bug you may want to file because I don't know if it's there or not.
Yeah.
But one of the things we did not talk about when we were talking about app streams last week is
how to get more of them,
which I
profiles. Yeah.
think are awesome and have had very mixed feedback from lots and lots of people. So with Node.js, you can get a stream. So the reason these are called streams is because they're not always strictly tied to a number, right? So as you can see, Nginx has a main line, whereas libuv has this Apple 8 build root. Container Tools has a RHEL 8. Container Tools also is interesting, right? Because it's not one thing, it's a bunch of things. So that setup of those bunch of things is versioned in and of itself.
Nice.
Because otherwise, basically, the problem you have is otherwise you have the same problem with software collections, where software collections tries to embed in the RPM name all of the information about everything that's in that software collection, which is a huge misuse of metadata, right? So to avoid that, we actually use these kind of arbitrary stream names, and then we have various ways in the info fields, in the various other metadata fields, to answer the question of what is in Container Tools 2.0, for example. Right. But then we also have these things called profiles. And what profiles do is, the idea of them is that the expert, so basically the packager, knows what you need if you want to run a production Node.js. Right. But also knows what you need if you want to do development on Node.js. Exactly. And my classic example of this is Apache. So whenever any developer installs HTTPD, right, which is the package name in RHEL land, they immediately set and force 0, turn off the firewall, because they don't know how to make the files they're editing, the HTML files, let's just say for the sake of simplicity, how to make those appear on the web server correctly. So instead of figuring that out, like most developers, they're under a deadline, and so they just want to get it done. So they just turn off all the security and serve up their HTML pages. Little to be known, there is actually a package that's at least in Fedora and may still be in RHEL, I'm not sure, but there's a package that will actually turn on the public HTML directory under your home directory. So I don't know if you've seen that. It's kind of really old school. Not a lot of people use it anymore. But if you've seen a site,
no, I've seen it. It's
by username or whatever.
Yeah.
You can enable that by just installing a particular package.
Wow.
Problem is, No one knows what that package is, and no one knows how to find it, right? And the reason is because an RPM only has one way of being installed. So even though that is a meta package that installs a bunch of different things that configures HTTPD the right way, there's no discovery process. So as part of the module architecture, we built in a discovery process by having these things called profiles.
Nice.
So, long way of saying, it would be nice perhaps if the Node.js module had a profile called V8, right?
That would be
Which would
cool.
install all the things you need to get V8.
Just
Now,
V8, not everything in Node.js, because that is
correct.
quite a bit.
Right. So if I'm trying to remember my syntax here. Node.js 12. So this should have the profiles in it here. There's actually 3 different profiles. They must have gotten cut off. Or I was looking at a different one. And then I'm trying to remember if it's showing it. So one of the challenges we've had with the module work is basically DNF keeping up, or Yum keeping up with the functionality we're providing. And so not all of it is displayed super nicely. But basically, what we could try to do is, let's just do Podman run itrm UBI 8. Okay, and now we can say sudo yum install Node.js 12 minimal. No sudo. My fingers just want to type it every single time, nice. Even though I don't need it because I'm actually root.
Yeah. I have the exact opposite behavior because I grew up in the sudo sudo- days, so I always sudo -s and then just act as root. So
right. Oh, they changed the syntax on me. Let's see. Yum. Oh, you know why? It's because module install. Yeah, there we go. So if we do the Node.js minimal, then we will get just Node.js. So this is just kind of an example of not getting the whole set. Unfortunately, I don't believe V8 is set up this way. But you could have a profile that's Node.js.
Yeah.
Chris, that also, though, I will say, just kind of going back to the commentary as well, is the SU model is also very rel centric. So if you were another Linux distro, if you grew up on another Linux distro, say Slackware, and it's 37 floppies that I used to install my first Linux.
Yep.
Sudo was much more common. SU was so when I first came to the kind of rel ecosystem, it took me I was like, why does everybody use SU all the time? So it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how that. Yes, it was. So Narinda, we used to install and back up things on 1.44 megabyte floppy disks.
And it was
I remember
literally 30-something floppies to install Slackware.
Yeah, I remember
97.
Windows 98. Like it came out with a floppy set, and it was like 2 stacks of bricks or something, right? Like a 25 like set of like disks. And it was the last version, I think, of like Windows to come out on floppy by default. It just got to the point where it's just like completely like, okay, CD-ROM this, please. Everything needs a CD-ROM now. Now there's not even CD-ROMs anymore. We've passed DVD-ROMs and everything's USB. So yeah. It's amazing how quickly technology advances. So do you have V8?
So what I was going to show is a way to find it, right? Or a way to get to accomplish your goal even without using a particular profile, which is to do what's called here. I hate when it's all the way at the bottom of the screen, but sometimes I have to make it wider. So Yum module enable Node.js 12. And I forgot that I should not have left the container, but I luckily missed punch cards. I am just young enough.
Me too. I am very happy that I missed punch cards. Very, very happy. John Willis told me a great story about punch cards once, and it sounded like an absolute nightmare. It's like, no thanks. I don't ever want to do that.
So, 10 maybe? Yeah, I thought we had to do this first. I was just, so the point I was trying to make, even though I'm still not seeing this particular example, was that if you want just a package out of a module or a particular, or an app stream, sorry, I missed, what are you holding up?
Punch card.
Oh, nice.
Miranda had never seen one, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a friend of mine used to talk about, the horror stories of using, basically, like tripping with your your big box of punch cards.
Yeah, JP Dade mentioned that in chat, and it was just
oh God,
yeah. No. Yeah, that would be awful.
So what I just wanted to show was that if V8 Devel was in the Node.js 12 module, which I'm not seeing it, but it might be it's in 10 or 11,
might be 14 or who knows,
whatever. Yeah. But point being is that you can just enable the module, which is, from a user experience perspective, the equivalent of just enabling a repo. And so now any content in there will be available for search.
Nice.
Or install or whatever. So you can install the single library you need without having to install all of Node.js, like you would if you did something like this. Okay, so what this will do is install the default profile of the 12 stream of Node.js. But, if you don't want to actually install anything, you just want a single library, that's how you do it, is you go and enable the individual one, and then you're on your merry way. Did that help, even if I don't know where V8 Devel is?
Maybe. I didn't want you to derail the show, but
oh well, yeah. I really like app streams. I have a bias. Okay, so what we were doing was we were taking a look at
JP Dade is help. Yeah, JP Dade feels, but I will install Node.js whatever version gives me a V8 Devel. I have plenty of space. Let her rip, buddy.
Yeah. So what I was talking about before is just that if it's not in the AppStream RPMs, maybe living under a Node.js module. And the next place to try is Code Ready Builder, which is basically where almost everything that's -devel lives. That's probably where it would be. If it's not there, then it means it's probably in Apple, and it's just an unsupported component. So that's basically where it goes. So what I wanted to show was how to make.
JP has 9 terabytes of disk space available.
That's a lot. I do have a terabyte in my laptop now, which I'm pretty excited.
Oh yeah, I've got a terabyte in my pizza server that I got over there. Yeah, so we're talking about package managers for NVM and things like that. But Go has depth and their own package manager now, and there's all kinds of package managers that you could get that might solve this problem for you, JP Dade, potentially. But if you want to just use the Rails stuff, go ahead. Right, it's there for you.
So I actually wrote an article about this. So as a result, I wrote it and then promptly forgot about it.
As one does.
Exactly.
Finished. Brain dump.
Yep. Oh, wait. No, this guy. So basically, as a way to explain that Python problem, I wrote this article, which we're going to reload the page about 6 times, apparently, on redirects.
So, yeah. Weird.
And I thought I said in here, yeah, so if we do yum install at Python 3.6, we should get the common, which I thought set up the Python flag.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, there it is. Okay, so it installs it, but it just doesn't like flip the switch. So if you do an alternatives, everyone's familiar with with alternatives infrastructure, right? So basically, it gives
People
you.
might not be like,
Okay.
I mean, so like this concept, like it came out when I was in the Air Force. So this was not something that was familiar to me when I first joined, or like rejoined the Rail admin ranks
Okay.
in the early 2010s. Yeah.
So, funnily enough, like software collections and modules, alternatives are actually an attempt to solve the exact same problem. How do I make different things available to the machine, even though it's a single distribution? It is primarily used these days with Java, and the reason is because Java doesn't have 95% of the problems we're talking about when we talk about a distribution locking you to a version. And the reason is because if you've ever done any Java, whenever you run Java, you actually declare every library you're using. And it used to be you had to literally declare every single one on the command line whenever you ran anything. Now you can do things like use jars, or you can actually give directories and that kind of stuff. But because you do that, you can be non-distribution locked, right? Because you can just have a directory somewhere with whatever the latest libraries is of whatever you want in your Java. So even though we have lots of languages that are not dependent on the binaries per se installed in the operating system, most of them don't have a way of feeding the entire runtime to the command line execution. So most Java developers and probably most admins find Java annoying because of this. But in fact, it's a serious feature if you want operating system independence for your language. So this alternatives technique has been around a long time. It's just called the
It's
alternative.
very handy. It's incredibly handy.
Yes. And so what happens is so what you can do is you can say, let me do it this way first. I think it's under help. Yeah, so what you do is you install a new alternative. And basically the important parts are this part here, just that first line. And what it does is it says, okay, here's where I want it to live. So user bin Python. Here's what I want to call this set of alternatives. Here is the path to the implementation of the one I want to use first, or the one I want to set up first, or the one I'm trying to set up now, I guess is a better way to put it. And then a priority. And so basically priority is the higher the priority, that's what will be chosen by default. So, and then what it does is it actually creates files in this alternatives directory pointing to all your different alternatives. And then it points
a default,
whatever your default is, at the alternatives infrastructure. So user bin Python 3 points at this alternatives guy. If you notice, there isn't one for user bin Python at all.
Right.
So what we can
create
do
one
is we can say config Python. And if you notice, we have the default is no Python. Or we can go to 2,
which is Python.
And now Python.
Ta-da!
And if you just kind of look here quickly, what's happened is it just basically created a symlink to that alternatives Python.
Yep. Unversioned Python. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah. So
the alternatives thing is absolutely amazing. And the second I found it one day, right, like I accidentally discovered it before an RHCSA exam. And I was like, oh my God, where's this been? It was like 2012. So, yeah.
Right. The reason I was struggling a little bit with this is just because we went back and forth about whether if you module install Python 3.6, should it immediately flip this alternatives guy? And the reason it doesn't is
because we don't want folks to just assume they have the version of Python they had before.
Right. Basically with the fear that, Python 4 is going to come out someday.
Right.
Probably in the life cycle of Rel 8.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure people are starting to think about being explicit. But if you have code that's relying on user bin Python, as as a shebang.
Mm-hmm.
That way you can
This way you can have that. Yeah.
right. So
And user bin env Python is a better way to do this, but that's a whole nother story.
Right, but it will consistently work, which is much more useful than user bin Python. All right, so long story short, in my tools container, I would like to have Python. So what I would do is we will go and modify this guy. Let me make sure I closed it over here. Nope. And so what I would do is modify. I lost my scroll back here. Oh my goodness. It's apparently way back.
Way back.
All right, so let's clean this up because we are actually almost out of time.
Yes. I love how we always seem to like run up against time.
Exactly.
No matter what. That means we're getting questions. Yeah.
All right. What did we? Oh, so we wanted less.
We wanted less.
And nmap. Now we should be able to do this. Oops. So one of the things that we were trying to do with the app streams and modules, right, was we're trying to change the experience of actually all of rel 8 really. We were trying to change the experience of using Yum as little as humanly possible, while also giving all this new functionality, right? So kind of adopting some aspects of the Yum groups, which are basically a module is kind of like somewhere in between a Yum group and a meta package, kind of more powerful than both, and more functional than both, if not, kind of like both of them put together. So adopting some of the characteristics of using Yum groups, we thought was a good way for users to help understand how to work with them. So, actually don't know how do we do, can we do alternatives by command line, or you can just set it? There it is. Oh no, I don't want to set the path. I want to. Anybody know how to make alternatives do a config without being interactive?
--no interaction or interactive.
Is it like
--no? No.
See what happens.
I don't know, man.
So I thought you could do something.
Auto.
Well, so the problem is that auto will give us the. Oh no, auto actually should work because it was a higher number, right?
Right.
Oops. Let's just check. So yeah. So the Python. Hey, look at that, Tmux. The 2 there should then go to auto. So if we say, run. Oops. Insert run alternatives auto Python. That should give it to us. And then actually let's add in a command down here so that we don't have to type bin bash every time. And then we can build it and see if our @ works in the same one. I know it does not work for groups, so we might need to break that into 2 separate lines.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I find that the same thing to be annoying about Ansible as well. Ansible, you can't do a group install at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's a Yum limitation though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, Ansible's got code there. It's not like just firing off the command, right? I mean, just breaking it into 2 commands. What? Oh, I forgot a ampersand.
Oh, yeah, you did. I was going to mention that, but I forgot. Sorry. I got distracted by chat. My bad.
No worries. If you got distracted by Parappa the Rapper, that would be worse.
Yeah. So, Narendev, I'm gonna find you the talk that Daniel O did on the channel here, because he's asking a lot about Quarkus, and Daniel O's talk about Quarkus is freaking amazing and blows my mind every time he gives it. No matter how many times I've seen it, it literally makes it so. I always tell this story anytime I talk about this talk from Daniel O. We were at DevOps Days Raleigh last year, and there was literally somebody behind me that said, "Wow," when he did something. And then this is all Quarkus stuff. And then across the audience, I heard a whoa, like, that's cool. Whoa. As he was like, you never hear that during a talk, right? Like, that's very, very rare. So, like, this is intense stuff. It's cool.
Right.
Super cool. Awesome. Let me get this link for you, Narendev, and we'll be on our merry little way here. Do not play that sound, though. Thank you.
Now I have conflicting directives because it's in the run label. So let's just kill that. And it's of course there already. There we go. All right, so now Python. See, Python should still just work. I thought that was how you did it.
So are we struggling right now? Isn't this great, folks?
Exactly. So, so maybe I said it backwards. I wonder if it's lower number is higher priority. It's one of those things
that might make sense.
Every piece of software
logic.
does it any way they feel like it. It drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, let's do list Python. No, I think it was the only way we see is config.
All right.
So let's. Should we ask the internet how to config alternatives without being interactive? Let's see how my Google foo is today. Let's maybe throw Linux in there.
Set alternate.
Here we go. Look at that. Oh, but see, that's not exactly what I want. I don't want to set the path. I want to. Oh, I could do it this way.
Oh, yeah.
It's horrific, but it would work.
Awful.
Yeah, and see, this is you change the default.
Oh gosh.
These are
do you want to just
horrible.
Push forward?
Yeah. So well, I mean, we're pretty much there, right? Like I wanted to have Python by default working at the symlink of Python, right? In my tools container. I wanted nmap and trace route, and we've got all that. And we've got what else? We were looking for DD. Oh, that works. I didn't realize it had it passed nothing and it will still do stuff flavor. We talked a ton about core utils and that kind of stuff. Is there anything else we'd want to cover, or should we? I
think we should wrap this up, man. I think we're good.
Yeah, and I will try to include in the show notes a way to fix or to do alternatives hopefully dynamically without being ugly. But I'll put in the ugly.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. We'll definitely bring that up next week for sure. Cool, man.
Cool.
What do we have coming up next week on the show?
Let's see.
I'm looking.
I think it is not in your list because I haven't seen
it's
all the latest.
Oh, you haven't? No, so it's a surprise.
It's a surprise. Exactly. For me as well as you.
Yeah. Sweet internet points. Oh my gosh.
Oh, we almost forgot.
Oh my gosh.
That would have been terrible.
That would have been awful.
Where did my sweet internet points window go?
I got it.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay. So just to answer the question, I was actually hoping to maybe have an interview for next week. We'll see if I can land that. Otherwise, I was thinking we might talk about app streams some more.
Okay,
Or
cool.
maybe we'll talk. Actually, no. What would be more fun? Let's talk about.
Where do you want me to drop these links? Discord?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, Narendev pulling away at the 600 points. But Linux Expo Stacy still staying strong.
Nice.
With 400 points. And then we have a
Nice.
new contender with Joe Fuzz and then another 400 points.
Joe Fuzz.
And I committed last week to posting other ways to earn the points. I have written it, but haven't posted it because I need somebody to review it real quick. So hopefully we'll have it up later today or tomorrow.
Yes.
Just I wanted a second set of eyes on it before I
increasing the point getting potential.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah. So look at all those
staying up number one. Good job, Narendev.
And as you can see, if you go to the Level Up Point Forum and enter TLUH 701748,
I dropped that in live stream, but it did not show up in Twitch.
Oh yeah, I don't see it either.
Weird.
You want me to try it?
Or connection failed.
Fun.
No, it did fail. Oh, we haven't got a message in here in a while since yesterday.
Oh, sweet.
Okay, that's not good. All right. Since 10:45, 10:42 yesterday, we haven't gotten a message. Okay.
You know, I noticed during the Commons thing.
Yeah,
I thought Commons
nothing was coming
going
through.
That way.
Here, do you want me to drop it in Twitch or not?
I'm doing it right now. So
okay,
there's one. And
yes.
then if you want the longer, harder version.
Right, like if that doesn't work for you for whatever reason, just go to the Level Up forum and enter the point code yourself.
And then last week's show notes I will throw in there too, in case those didn't. Did those come through? And lastly,
now, yes,
Discord link. Just I don't know how much
I
we
got
made
that
it through when we did it earlier. Okay. But yeah, so maybe we'll talk about pods next week, or we'll talk about app streams. And
pods and app streams. Let's do double whammy because we don't have a Paul forum and we can go a little over next week.
Oh, good point. Yeah. All right. So let's see how that goes, and let's call it a day.
Yeah.
You want to give an update of what else is happening today and this week?
So yeah, later today we've got OpenShift Commons briefing on. Clicking the thing. Nope, today is not the 9th. There's an OpenShift Commons briefing today. It is at noon Eastern time, 1600 UTC, on modernizing and accelerating enterprise application development with a project called Joget. I don't know the exact pronunciation, but yeah, check out the calendar and you'll see it. But coming up tomorrow on the show is we're having a special guest. One of our partners, Systig, is coming on at 10 a.m. Eastern, 1400 UTC. I've got Dan Pop, I can't say his last name, from Systig coming on. I'm gonna spin up a bare OpenShift container. We're gonna slap Systig on it. We're gonna let it rip, see what we can do with it. It's gonna be pretty fun. So yeah, hop on there. And then we have Dev Nation at noon tomorrow. And yeah, that wraps up the week. No, I'm sorry. There's one more OCB. There's an OpenShift Commons briefing on Friday with talking about uncertainty and complex systems. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, that's interesting. I do find it amusing with us doing, like these Twitch shows and stuff like that. It's like it's so common to not ever say the technologies out loud that we use all the time. And then you're like, wait, I don't actually know how to say that. The Quay key problem being a great example. But yeah, I find that very amusing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. And same bat time, same bat channel next week.
Yeah. Narendev, ping me on Twitter and I'll find you something. All right. Take it easy, everybody.